Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Mayor Easton's 2025 State of the Town, presented by Niagara Peninsula Energy and the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce. My name is Amelia Amaro, and I am the Executive Director here at the Lincoln Chamber. I am so delighted to be the one to introduce Mayor Easton as she gives us her State of the Town address. And I will just jump right into this beautiful bio. Mayor Sandra Easton is currently serving her third term as mayor of the town of Lincoln. With a distinguished background in healthcare, governance, and community leadership, Mayor Easton is widely recognized for her dedication to building a strong, sustainable, and inclusive municipality. Throughout her tenure, she has championed strategic investments in infrastructure, environmental sustainability, economic development, and community well-being. Her leadership has earned Lincoln national recognition, including the Canadian Association of Municipal Administrators Environmental Leadership and Sustainability Award. And and that's not all. And the Government Finance Officers Association's Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. A strong advocate for intermunicipal collaboration and streamlined service delivery, Mayor Easton continues to be an influential voice in the ongoing dialogue around regional reform in Niagara. Her focus on eliminating duplication, improving efficiency, and strengthening partnerships across all levels of government reflects her commitment to delivering long-term value and accountability for residents. Mayor Easton is particularly proud of Lincoln's thriving and diverse agricultural sector, which remains a cornerstone of the community. From the award-winning vineyards and craft breweries to the innovative greenhouses and farm-to-table ventures, Lincoln's agricultural industry showcases innovation, resilience, and sustainability. Under her leadership, the town has supported the sector with infrastructure, resources, and partnerships that drive economic growth. Her vision for Lincoln is one of balanced growth, ensuring development enhances the town's unique charm without compromising its heritage. She is dedicated to creating a community where young people are inspired to stay, live, and work, strengthening Lincoln's future with a strong sense of place and belonging. As Lincoln continues to grow, Mayor Easton remains committed to fostering a vibrant, prosperous, and connected town, one that celebrates its agricultural roots, embraces innovation, and offers a high quality of life for all residents. So without further ado, Mayor Easton.
I was looking for Sam. Where's Sam sitting?
Right here. Sam's right here.
See, he's back in his office. He's writing new rules for the strong mayors. I can just see it now. Well, as always, what a beautiful room. And Amelia, your team have done such a great job setting this up. And actually, I wanted to go and sit down. I'm going to be sitting in that chair over there. And I thought I might stay there for the rest of the afternoon. It's just... Well, I love today. I've always loved today. I always talk too long, but I'm trying very hard to control myself. It seems to be the only time when I can tell you everything according to me. So I always like but I'm going to do better. And Dean's got his watch out. He's very good at this. He's had lots of practice. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I just want to say to you that in 1992, my dear husband was the project manager when this entire facility and the street was completely renovated over a period of time. This was the beginning of farm to table. It started right here in the Niagara area. This is where it started. And so it's so great to come back here today because we've come so far with our value-added proposition. And it's just, I think, really the foundation for what we're going to be looking at in the future. We're here to celebrate our progress over the last few years and to focus on the work ahead, and there's plenty of it. Now, where are the builders in the room? You know, I always have to do a little service. Are there any builders here at all? Well, we certainly have the Niagara Home Builders Executive Director here. This is interesting because as a strong mayor, whatever that means, Jeff Jordan and Cheryl Ganan, we're going to figure this out. The whole business about getting building done is going to require bankers and builders and the Home Builders Association, all those teams to come together and get work done. So anyway, something happened today. Actually, we do have FBH here. Thank you very much for showing up, and John Passero may be around the corner as well. I want to extend my gratitude to the Lincoln Chamber because they really put a great deal of effort into this, and not only just hosting the event, anybody can order up a space, but they've really created a wonderful environment for us today. Thank you very, very much, Katie, and to the board and Amelia. I do want to welcome Sam Oosterhoff's representative. Thank you very much for coming today. I'll say in his absence that Sam has been tremendously, and as I always say to him, enduringly loyal to Niagara West, and I thank him very much for that. Chuck, again, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate your support. And Dean, who is going through his own trials and tribulations at the moment, but I think he's celebrating it pretty well. I was at the candidates meeting the other night. Dean, you did a fine job, and I'm really glad that you're here today. Thank you so much. I want to acknowledge my colleagues on Lincoln Town Council, and I'll just name those that I think are here today. I haven't spoken to everyone. We have Councillor Diane Rajima, Councillor Mike Mikulek, Councillor Anna Murray, Councillor Lynn Timmers, Councillor Greg Reimer. We also have Regional Councillor Rob Foster. Thank you very much, Rob, for attending. We have the Town of Grimsby Mayor Jeff Jordan. Thank you so much, Jeff, for attending, and Mayor Cheryl Ganan. Thank you very much, Cheryl. And they also brought their CAOs with them, Sarah Kim from Grimsby, and Trooper McBride, who is new to West Lincoln. So welcome to you all, and we've got lots of reasons to work closely together in the future. I want to thank our Lincoln staff, our CAO, Michael Kirkopoulos. Tony, can you bring me some water? Can you bring me a glass of water, please? And the senior staff that are in attendance here today. We offer, the community looks forward to the 92 services that we provide in the community. We couldn't do it without them. And that bio of mine, it does sound great. I'm not sure who that person is every day, but the staff, our senior staff, and the council are really the backbone of how we get work done. Today, I want to focus my speech on a couple of key areas of priority for me and the council. And the number one, of course, falls under the driving economic growth and investment. Just a moment. I'm so concerned about my time, but I have to go back here because there's an important group that is also here that I absolutely must acknowledge, and I'm looking for a round of applause to this group. Over the last couple of years, the town of Lincoln has had many, many projects, capital projects. You see them every day. You drive up and down the streets. You see what's been happening. The region of Niagara has been with us on almost every one of those projects. So I want to welcome Chair Jim Bradley, first of all. And Chair Bradley has been extremely dedicated in his own leadership in two areas related to the work of the town. The first one is related to the irrigation project. There will be an announcement. We can't say anything about it. It isn't even a matter of too much. We can't say anything about it. But I can tell you that if Chair Bradley had not got involved and taken a leadership role, we wouldn't have the success that's coming ahead of us. That was the first thing. Jim, there's another important item that we worked on together. I'll think of it and it'll pop right into my head. The point is that the chair isn't just down there in an ivory tower. He pays attention to what's going on in the communities, and when you need him to deliver, he delivers, and that is key. Also today, we have a number of senior staff that are here. I didn't see Ron Tripp. If you're here, Ron, again, thank you for your leadership and for ensuring that, that our needs are well understood. And the senior staff that are here, thank you all for coming. I can hardly wait for us to start to work on BDSS and find those areas in the places of community services and public health, where we're going to be able to bring services much closer to our community, and also to provide that support for seniors and also youth. So thank you, and please, a round of applause. Lincoln has long been a hub for economic growth, and it's an area that has been in place for quite a long time. Today, sitting at this table, number 3, is the former mayor, Ray Conkle. Ray Conkle had a very well-developed, a very sophisticated model of economic development for the times when he was the mayor. He is the longest-serving mayor for the town. We're committed to keeping it this way. We are not a bedroom community. We have no desire to be a bedroom community. And we want to ensure that we keep and maintain a diverse business cohort in order to bring that strength into the community. We are cutting red tape, and we will cut more. There are all kinds of things that can be brought down to a much more reasonable level. We are known for streamlining our development approvals. I can find the endorsements if there's any question, but I really have to applaud our Matt Bruder and the planning staff. They do a great job. Securing investments in agriculture, tourism, and small businesses. This is the work of Mr. Director Paul Deani. These initiatives aren't just about growth, they're about resilience. Resilience in the face of economic challenges, and that includes what's happening with the tariffs and shifting trade policies, some of which we haven't even seen yet, but it doesn't matter. Lincoln is about looking forward, finding the right partners, working with them, getting the job done. A prime example of these challenges is the potential impact of the retaliatory tariffs on emergency vehicle purchases. So I'm talking now about the fire trucks and that potential increase of $250,000. So we're going to be working with this. It's being worked on across the province. It's not just Lincoln. And we may find ourselves in a situation where we'll have to reconsider certain budgets. Now it's a matter, and this is something that we've learned working so carefully with the finance department at the region. We all know how to decide priorities. There is nothing magical about it. Some of it has to do with what you want as services. Some of it has to do with what we know needs to happen in terms of the conditioning around our assets. We are at a point where we will be making decisions about whether something is going to completely fail and needs to be dealt with, and how much longer we can hang on some of the things we would normally do. That is the position that all municipalities are in. We can handle this. At the same time, we must continue to invest. So it's a bit of a dichotomy, so we're going to have to be very careful. And these services are very important to everyone. We're not leaving people out because we're in a difficult spot. Youth and children in our community are my priority. For adults who have lived their lives and had most of what they wanted come to them, or they worked very hard and were able to achieve it, I think that's wonderful. My concern is youth. What is going to be there for them? And I think that's where all of us should be putting our attention. The 1.1 under this heading is advancing housing and infrastructure development. This is a provincial priority. Therefore, it's a priority for all mayors. It is one of the major principles that they have identified under the strong mayor powers. We are expected now to work with all partners that we can muster, primarily with our CAOs and our councils, to ensure that affordable housing and modern infrastructure is maintained in the community. What we don't have, but we have as a plan, must be achieved. The stakes are very high. And that's why we're very committed to transforming the BDSS site, leveraging its short-term potential right now for youth and seniors, while working with the community to develop a longer-term vision for potential housing and a community hub. Now, one of the tricks that politicians use when they want to get a point across is they talk about it and they talk about it and they talk about it. Pretty soon it sounds like normal. So one of the areas that we're going to be working on, Mr. CAO, is the whole area of arts and music and how the spaces at BDSS can be looked at. And I'm looking at Margaret Andrews because I've already started talking to people about this. I'm committed to ensuring that we have an example of this in our community. Sports are wonderful. They are very important. So is arts and culture. It's time for Lincoln. So let's move on to investing in heritage and community spaces, because again, we don't just stop because we are in a difficult state. And even in times of economic uncertainty, we must continue making smart strategic investments. And that's why I'm so pleased that the next chapter, the Vineland Library and Community Space project, has secured $2 million in funding through the Government of Canada. Thank you, Dean. Now, I don't know what Dean's involvement was, but I do know one thing. He is a great cross the aisle talker, and that's what we are relying on. He's very successful, so thank you so much, Dean, for that crosstalk. That's been very helpful. This funding underscores our commitment to preserving our heritage, expanding access to cultural resources, and ensuring that Lincoln remains a hub for learning and innovation. One thing I know, that in these times, governments, senior governments, upper-level governments do not give money to people who cannot manage it effectively. They do not give money to people that don't have a plan. They don't give money to people that don't have a track record of looking after it and getting the most out of it. I was amazed. This announcement is only a couple of weeks old. So I think as a community, we should be very, very proud of that situation. It allows us to enhance our cultural spaces while minimizing the financial burden on local taxpayers. But we must be innovative in how we approach the project. We will certainly be involved with many different partnerships, with community support, with creative financing. I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm talking about looking after your money and putting it where it needs to go in a smart way. And to ensure that long-term sustainability without an over-reliance on debt. We're focusing on honoring our Indigenous heritage. Is Tim Johnson here today? I don't think that he is. All right, Tim Johnson is, he's a Mohawk that, and he works with Heritage and Legacy Committee at Niagara Parks. And he and Rick Hill, who's a Tuscarora historian and scholar and artist, they were the editors to this wonderful, wonderful book called This Landscape of Nations, Beyond the Mist. And the town of Lincoln staff, that's where the credit needs to go. They have been working very closely with the Indigenous community to carry out major renovation in Jordan Valley, and the new park, which, as you all know, it's been well publicized, is called Solar Rezone Park. So when the region completes the bridge that's going across the 20 Mile Creek, there will actually be some very interesting Indigenous art on that bridge. But the park itself is going to have an Indigenous theme. It's going to be very, very exciting. It enriches part of our natural history in the area. For me, it fulfills a much higher level of understanding about the neutral Indians who use this as a transportation route. I think it's something that, again, because we have difficult decisions to be made, we don't stop, and we find a way to deal with the important elements of our community development. Now, the second priority is standing with Team Canada and supporting local business. And we're going to be strong for the National Economic Plan. I don't care who is elected a few weeks from now, there's going to be a National Economic Plan with some twists and turns. It's still, we're going to support it. That's what we do. And the strong definition of community resilience is going to be embedded in sovereignty like it's never been before. We're going to have a much better sense of our independence. We're going to have a much better sense of appropriate interdependence. And we'll see where things go. I'm feeling great hope. You know, you drive down Mountain Street, in front of St. Helens Church, there's on the board, they always have a clever little saying. The one that I really like, it's one of the best ones. It says that we are pilgrims of hope. Every day I come down and I see that and I think, yeah, all right, religion aside, why wouldn't we want to be pilgrims of hope? So just keep that in your mind when you're feeling a little bit down. That's for my friends in the greenhouse industry. So the tariff response team, this is so exciting. What I find exciting about it is that we've got three groups. We've got three similar but different sectors. We have the BIA, we have the Lincoln Chamber, and we have the Town of Lincoln. We operate in a unique context. We have a completely different audience in terms of who our partners are, essentially, and we have an abundance of shared purpose. So if it seems a little awkward that this group would come together to see what they could do, I really don't know why we would do anything different. There's so much that can be offered, so much that can be given and shared. So this has now been formed, and this week there's going to be a further roundtable with the manufacturing sector. I think that we are, I just can only tell you that a year from now when I'm standing here, that I'll be able to tell you much more clearly where the successes were. But keep an eye on this. I think this is a group that has the potential of really making a difference without having a lot of formal levers. I really believe that. In particular, as I said briefly, we're standing with Lincoln's greenhouse growers who are facing significant impacts due to tariffs on local flower growers, with upwards of 60% of their flowers, their products exported to the US market. Now, I heard earlier that things, in some cases, are going very well, and that makes us all very relieved. On the other hand, it's not the same for everybody, and some of that chaos is really creating a lot of tension. These policies are posing major challenges because here we are, Lincoln's greenhouses. I don't know whether you know these numbers, but I think they're just unbelievable. 12 million square feet of greenhouse space in Lincoln, 25% of Canada's flowers. In other words, a quarter of every flower sold in this country is grown right here in Lincoln. And that has a value of, get this, over $500 million. So this is a group, this is a sector that we need to pay attention to. We need to support them. However, there's lots of other businesses, there's lots of other small businesses. Some of you are those business owners. And I try to get around. I spend a lot of time at the Camden General Store. But while I'm there, I can, see what's going on, who's coming in, what is it that people are doing. People are responding in a very positive way. They haven't gone into their houses to hide. And so when you have great places for them to visit, I think it makes a huge difference. So also the Shop Local initiatives, and we're going to see a couple of videos about that. encourage consumer awareness. I didn't embarrass you this year by asking where you had purchased your clothes, but we are shopping local. I know we are. Lincoln's success is part of Canada's success, and we'll continue fostering an environment of collaboration, innovation, and resilience. Now, fiscal responsibility and strategic investment. The town of Lincoln spent, over the last 2 years, considerable time on this. It's always our number one concern, because it's your number one concern. And you can't have success without it. You can have great ideas, but you can't lead on success if you don't have a good financial plan. I'm not saying that we agree on the plan. I'm just telling you, we have a plan. And the council has reviewed this and has made significant changes over the last 2 years. There's 3 parts to it: fiscal responsibility, making tough decisions, ensuring that financial sustainability is the rule, and especially with rising costs. Advocacy, continuing to work through the Association of Municipalities of Ontario and the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, continuing to push for exemptions on the emergency vehicle tariffs and for stronger municipal funding support. And every community will have their own agenda, and that's as it should be. We're supporting each other as well. Strategic investment, prioritizing projects that have long-term benefits, such as the library, museum funding, arts and music at BDSS, while ensuring that we are not overburdening future budgets. I want to reassure residents that we are actively planning for these economic challenges. We will continue working closely with all levels of government, seeking creative funding solutions, ensuring that Lincoln remains a strong, forward-thinking community. And we will pull through on previous investments on roads, on water quality, on bridges, culverts, parks, all supporting the community to maintain the quality of life for the seniors in our community, for youth, and for children. And throughout these trials, we're also we will continue to work on the issues related to housing, on public health, on the availability of physicians. There you go, Jim, that was the other one that you provided leadership on, thank you very much, and community services. So, that's my side of the story. And now I want to bring the elephant into the room, which is the topic of strong mayor powers, because I think that people are thinking, I don't know, Jim doesn't even have strong mayor powers. I think, if you think, Jim, that that's going to get you off the hook, you have another thing coming. So here's what I can tell you, because we're working, the 3 mayors, we're working with our CAOs, and we'll do some work together, and we'll get this figured out so that we'll do it in the best way we possibly can, the most effective way. So also 169 more municipalities were included, including the town of Lincoln. And I don't want to be disingenuous. I think this is great. I've always thought that it was a total imbalance that mayors didn't have any direct power. But you can do it in a way that is acceptable. You can do it in a way that your council is involved. It's not a matter of just doing what you want. And believe me, you will soon find out that every time the mayor makes a decision that's in the strong mayors list, it goes on a report. It goes on a report on the website. So there's, I don't know what the mayor in Aurelia was doing, but anyway, I don't think he knew that these things were reported on. So we're going to continue working on this. We've had a couple of meetings with the clerk, the CAO, and I, and we've communicated it a little bit with the council. There's not much to say. We need to start looking at the impact of the choices that the mayor has to take at this time. But it's not all bad, let me tell you. I think in some communities where there's some real challenges around code of conduct, I think you're going to see the mayors use these powers to their best advantage and for the best advantage of the governance and the democracy at the table. So, you know, I'm pretty committed to this community. And in 2014, when I decided to run for mayor. I'm always, people say, oh, everybody's after me to run for mayor. That was not my experience. Nobody was telling me I should run for mayor. But I felt that I had something to offer. I think nurses actually have a great preparation for mayor, and Dr. Kesmani would agree with me. So what I want to tell you is that, over the next year and a half, myself, I'm going to be under a lot of scrutiny, and I know that because I have to be able to implement these new rules in a way that is going to benefit everyone, and I welcome that. At the same time, at that time, 2026, the next election is coming along, I really am looking for your support in 2026, and I want to tell you that today because I intend to ensure that the time that I have between now and then, no matter the outcome, I intend to work as hard as I have and can to make this community as prosperous as it can be and to ensure that people are kept safe in this community and that everybody has a house to live in. So let me move on and let you know that to finish off this part of the program, there's a couple of videos, and I think that Paul Deanne is going to, and Liliana are going to put these up. I think you're going to find them very exciting. And then we'll have lunch, and then Katie and I will go at it with the questions. I think that they're going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you all for your attention. I'm so appreciative of the crowd that we have here today. I want to thank Niagara Peninsula Energy for their sponsorship. They are, this is really very important to, we have had a nice relationship with NPEI. They provide great service for us and a good deal of consistency and reliability in the service. So thank you also for coming here today. Thank you very much.